Pinehurst Resort, site of the 2014 U.S. Women's Open. I am Kelly Thesier, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Steve Eubanks of Global Golf Post and Geoff Shackelford of GolfWorld. So excited to be here. It's a historic week as we get ready for the second of back-to-back U.S. Open championships, and now it's the women's turn. Geoff, we've heard so much talk about these two championships coming in and what challenges might face. How has this played out so far?
Well, it's played out to perfection. I think we were all a little bit nervous about how this would work, and mostly the golf course, how it would hold up. And it's turned out this is the perfect place to come because of the more rough and brown and let's call it rustic look. But when you actually get out there and walk on the greens, walk on the fairways, the course looks pristine. You see a few ball marks on a few greens, more than you normally would. Of course, it's going into a U.S. Women's Open. But all the issues with divots and all the things that everybody was worried about haven't come true. The greens are absolutely beautiful. It's hard to believe that in a few weeks they're going to rip them up and convert them to a different grass. I mean, they're just amazing looking. So I think the concerns and questions are gone about how the golf course would fare and how this whole setup would work for the 2 weeks.
Steve, Sunday was a pretty special day as we got to see the women and men interact on the range in the practice area for the first time in such a big stage. What was that moment like? What was it like to witness that?
Well, it was really cool to witness, but I think the players really enjoyed it. I mean, if you went out and saw it, the women were sort of giddy at the fact that they were able to go out and be there beside the men as they were warming up. I know Jessica Korda sort of danced her way out onto the range, and they enjoyed interacting with them, and the guys really enjoyed it too. I know I saw Ricky Fowler go up and talk to a number of players, wish them luck next week, and so it was really fun to see that kind of interaction. It was something we'd never seen before and will likely never see again.
No doubt. It was a very special day, and I know just being a part of it was a cool experience for me, and I'm sure for all of you guys as well. This week marks only the second time in history since the rankings started in 2006 that we've seen an American enter this week ranked #1 in the world. Steve, you've been watching this tour all year and seen this American resurgence. What has that done for the women's game to see so many Americans up there at the top of the rankings?
Well, I mean, I hate at this risk of sounding jingoistic. It has brought a lot of interest back to the game, and I think it is the diversity now on tour. I think a lot of people see not just the Americans at the top of the world rankings, but they see a lot of interesting personalities now. There are people that you can be invested in, that you really like to go out and follow it, and I think that has been great not just for this event, but for the women's game overall.
Geoff, you got to watch all the men play this golf course over the past week. What do you think is going to be the key for the women, and what's going to stand out? What do you have to have in your game to succeed on this golf course?
Well, Martin Keimer was clinical in the way he picked this place apart, but I still believe that Pinehurst is a scrambler's golf course. This is a place you need to be able to be okay with getting up and down a lot and kind of grinding out around when you're not at your best. And around the greens, it takes a certain kind of wizardry. It's not really bump and run shots. I'm not even sure still after watching a week of it that putting from off the greens is a great idea. So those people who can hit those great little pitch shots that spin are really going to be, I think, an advantage. And then the other thing to watch is how the women come out of the sandy native areas. We actually saw a difference in the cost of rough stat after it rained here because it firmed them up. Now it's pretty warm. We've gotten a little bit of moisture, but that's an interesting element of the course is the recovery shots and how you deal with that. But ultimately, I still think it's I think it's somebody who can scramble.
It's going to be a great test of golf. Steve, you've been watching these players all year. Who are your picks? Who do you think is going to stand out this week?
Well, it's interesting because I like Geoff, I agree that it's going to be a ball striker's week, and it's going to be someone who is patient enough to understand that you're going to hit some shots you think are great that are going to end up really bad.
Yep.
I'm not sure. It's going to be a test of patience for Stacy Lewis. She has not struck me this year as being the most patient person on earth, so that's going to be difficult. I like Jessica Korda. She's been working on her short game with Paul Azinger recently. She really is bringing a lot of confidence into this week. I think if you had to pick someone out of the field to look at, I'd say look at her.
Well, no doubt it's going to be an exciting week here at the #2 course at Pinehurst. So excited to see what's going to emerge, and keep tuning into LPGA.com all week to find out more about this week's event.